also need to enhance and enable those travel processes. The visa restrictions must be lifted. The border inefficiencies must also go away. They must be removed so that people can travel with ease. And there have been successful initiatives in this area, things like visa on arrival policies, single African air transport market, as well as regional tourism visas. Now, these are improvements that are being made.
For some reason, it looks like the Minister of Home Affairs wants to plunge this country into chaos, abdicating his responsibility to ensure that we have the rule of law. But we will hold them accountable on behalf of you, on behalf of our foreign visitors. We're going to hold them responsible. I've just had a meeting now with the Africa Diaspora team. And I committed to them that I'm going to work with them to ensure that we hold the Minister of Home Affairs accountable to ensure that our borders are closed, that all of us as South Africans, when people come to Johannesburg, they come to Johannesburg legally. And when they come here in Johannesburg, they respect the laws of this country. And those who come to South Africa, for whatever reason that they don't have documentation, it is his responsibility to ensure that our people are immediately given the documentation, because we cannot live in a city and be able to provide services when people do not have documentation. So we will hold the Minister of Home Affairs responsible to ensure that this city survives.
Fix the system.
Yeah. But fixing the system and dealing with people that are already here, that two different things. They're already here, and you know where to find them because they have jobs.
When people have lived in a country for a certain amount of time, they develop certain rights to be in a country. That happens. It works like that all over the world, and it depends on what the law says. For how long do you have to be in a country legally with the right documentation to get a job, to become a permanent resident or whatever else?
Let's talk about an illegal person who has no papers at all.
Well,
he paid a bribe at the border and has been here for 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's a serious matter, and people have to become legalized. I think what one would do would be to say you've got a certain amount of time to legalize your situation or face the consequences.
But how do I legalize? I'm already illegal. I'm afraid that by going to any official office, immediately I'll be caught out and I'll be kicked out of the country. Yeah. That's why I'm curious to know what does the DA do with, I don't know, whether it's 5, 6, 7 million foreign nationals that are in South Africa illegally, whether they are white, black, pink, or they are Zimbabweans or Mozambican for that matter, or even Germans.
Yeah, well, you've got to fix the system, and it's going to take time. I don't think there are many Germans here illegally.
Well, I'm just throwing, because so it doesn't sound like we always talk about people from Zimbabwe in this regard.
But we want to make it easier for skilled people to come here.
Yeah.
Now, what I have found, and I mean, I can't generalize, but many of the Zimbabweans I know in South Africa are highly skilled and add a huge amount to the economy. Skilled people add more opportunities for unskilled people than they take away. So we want skilled migration to South Africa. We want people with skills who've got money and skills who've got entrepreneurial leanings, who will start businesses. That's what we want. That's how you grow the economy.
What do we do with the unskilled, which are equally as many?
Look, you can't go rounding up people and kicking them out. You have to go through a process of identifying who they are, determining their particular individual circumstances, and then following the law to deal with their circumstances.
I think the issue of immigration is an international and a global issue. Now you can respond to it in one of two ways. You can say, how do you integrate citizens who come from other countries, give them legal status, make sure they learn what needs to happen in the country? Because if I want to go live in Germany, I must learn German. I must learn German laws. I must operate the German way. So a dialogue gives us an opportunity to say, what is that way? What is the South African way? But what Dudula is doing is, frankly, in my view, bordering on racism. Because it is going out, identifying people illegally. How does it, what power does Dudula have to verify papers of immigrants? It doesn't. So it goes out, it prescribes who is an immigrant, who's not, and then at the end of the day uses that to scapegoat citizens who come from other countries for government failures. What we should be doing coming out of this is to say, in dealing with the question of immigration, how do we integrate? But more crucially, let us stop ourselves in places where you can have communities that become exclusively about nationalities. You don't want little Lagos, or you don't want little Malawi, yeah, or whatever. You want integration. That's my view on immigration. Because then you can share knowledge and you can be part of this beautiful African continent. The same Dudula would never do that to American citizens, to Russian citizens, to any Asian citizens. They do it to fellow Africans. Why? Immigration is immigration, whether black, white, Indian, or colored. We must deal with immigration. But let's not be selective about picking where you want to pick and choose. Because at the end of the day, if they finish with the immigrants, they are going to come after Tswanas, Zulus, Xhosas, and then we will all as a society be fragmented into federalism of our own tribes.
Open border policy was there in 2014, was there in 2019, but it didn't work. What else can we find to attack them? Whether me and you like it or not, there are no borders in South Africa. That is just something written for formality on the founding manifesto of the EFF. There are no borders, my brother. I can tell you, it's like we behave like a mad person who has got a shack and a yard. He's given a stand with a shack. He goes and put a gate where there's no fence. You put a gate. When you go to Mqimbi, we Yamalopo, ukia gate here like a lock. Yet you don't have a fence. When you come back and unlock that gate and open. Your neighbor is looking at you, it's like, what is this? Gayton Mackenzie was running all over Limpopo River, saying he's chasing Zimbabweans who are crossing into South Africa, almost eaten by crocodiles for doing that. But the foolish him, he didn't know. He was proving what I'm saying correct, that there is no fence. So what open border are you talking about, which is not happening now, which is going to happen after the EFF takes over government? These Africans have always been here. If you doubt, there is a language called Fanaka law. It was formed long before the arrival of the EFF. Why? The migrant laborers met. They couldn't communicate amongst themselves when they were building South African economy. It was built by Zambians, it was built by Mozambicans, it was built by Zimbabweans, it was built by South Africans who could not communicate amongst themselves. They formed a language, Fanaga law. Where was the EFF when these migrant laborers were here? I'm just saying, we must not find ourselves behind time. The EFF is being punished for being ahead of the times. We say things now, you guys come to appreciate them extremely late because we're too far in thinking. So, and these Africans, when you needed them, they were there for you. The frontline states were there. People got killed in Lesotho. People got killed in Mozambique. People got killed in Swaziland, in Botswana, because they were suspected to have been harboring the terrorists, meaning your liberators, your liberation movements were alleged to have headquarters in those places. Someone says, don't tell us about Nigerians. You even go to an extent of saying Nigerians gave us money for our liberation. It's true. From the civil servants of Nigeria, monies were deducted from them to support the liberation of South Africa. So today we are in a comfortable place. We say we don't want them. The EFF agrees that we don't want undocumented people in South Africa. How can we say South Africans must get IDs and then welcome people who are not undocumented? Everybody has to be documented so that if any wrongdoing happens, for whatever reason we are looking for you, we need to find your location.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way. They are here already. You go and put them in Lindela with our state money, which you are saying it's supposed to buy medicine. We pay buses, we take them back. They come back the following day, not next week.
So what would be your solution as the EFF?
The solution is let's go and document these people.
So don't deport them, rather find a way to formalize them.
We need to document them, because whether you like it or not, my brother, they are here. You know what they do in December? They hand themselves over in Lindela so that they can go and eat Christmas at home. And then in January, they come back. That money could have been used on some feeding scheme to feed the children of the poor or in the clinics. The reality of you are in denial. There's xenophobic people are in denial. That's a problem. They are in denial that these people are here. They think they are still coming. Yeah. They are not coming, they are here. How do we deal with that?